This is the Work at Home Heroes podcast. Your host, Caitlin Pyle, digs deep with people from all over the world who make money from home. Get ready to wake up to a world of possibility for freedom, flexibility, and a life you'll love.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Work at Home Heroes podcast. I'm here with Lisa Eldridge, and she's a very, very special Lisa. She is the transcriptionist that worked with us on the Work at Home Summit, and she's also the transcriptionist who transcribes this podcast. And so if you're a fan of reading stuff, more so than listening to stuff, then we have Lisa to thank for that. And just a little bit more about Lisa before we say hi to her here. She is a homeschooling mom of 4. She's been married to her husband, David, for about 18 years. And she's been in the transcription space for over 11 years. She started at first with medical transcription, and then she did that for 4 years, switched to general transcription, has been working in that space for the past 7 years. Lisa, welcome to Work at Home Heroes.
Thank you, Caitlin, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So where are you living currently?
We live in Kansas. And yeah, like you said, I've been married to David for 18 years. We have 4 kids. We've been homeschooling for about 11 years now. So life is very busy.
Yes. And you guys listening right now who are thinking, hey, I have 4 kids, I'm married, I live in Kansas, whatever your excuse is for not working at home, we're about to bust them with the help of Lisa. So I'm really glad you're here. So tell us a little bit more about your life. What kind of stuff do you do as a mom? And then how do you fit your transcription work into that?
As a mom, especially a homeschooling mom, I'm busy with lesson planning, grading papers, and all those kinds of things. So our mornings are, usually pretty laid back. We don't have anywhere to be, it's kind of nice. I spend time with particularly my younger children in the afternoon. That's when I start their schooling. My older 2, they're pretty self-taught at this point, self-led, but I'm here if they need me. I also, in my spare time, when I can find that, I do enjoy reading, and I enjoy baking quite a bit. I also enjoy gardening, and I have a blog that's been sadly neglected of late, but I do enjoy writing on there as well. That's a little bit about what I do.
Awesome. Well, let's just talk about the transcription side of things. How did you get into transcription?
About 14 years ago, when my older 2 were very young, they were 1 and 2 years old, I knew I needed a means to supplement my husband's income because those were some pretty lean years. So I wanted to do something to help out, but I knew that I didn't want to work outside the home because we'd have daycare costs and, transportation costs. And, it just didn't seem to be a feasible option. Well, one day we had a friend over and he was talking to us about this job called medical transcription, something I had never heard of before. And he said that the woman that he was talking to who did this was able to work from home. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. So I did some research and discovered that, it was a viable means of making an income and you didn't have to go anywhere. You could, but you could make money from home doing it just on your computer. So I took a course, a medical transcription course, and it took me about 6 months to complete that. And it wasn't too long after that that I was able to get a job doing medical transcription. And so I did that for about 4 years. And then when my older 2 were getting into their elementary years of school and life was just busy, I needed a job that was not going to be so rigid. While I had the opportunity to work from home doing medical, at that particular job I had to work set hours in a day. So I wanted something that would give me some more freedom, some more flexibility. And so I didn't know exactly where to look for a medical transcription job. But that's one of the nice things about working from home is that you don't have to work locally. So I looked on Craigslist, looked for different transcription jobs. I was thinking specifically medical, since that's what I knew, but I didn't limit myself to that necessarily. And there was a lady who contacted me. She lives out on the East Coast. And despite me not having any specific general transcription experience, she went ahead and taught me the ropes of that. She gave me a chance and taught me what I know about general transcription. So that's how I ended up where I am now. And I've been working for her for about almost 8 years now.
Yeah, you were in transcription back when, medical transcription was hot, but technology was not kind of up to date. So you were doing your practice dictations on microcassettes.
Yes.
And now a lot of the medical transcription, as you know, has been outsourced. And so there's been a lot of hullabaloo in the industry about, hey, what's next for transcription? And the reality is it's general transcription. And working with people like me who have small businesses that need things transcribed, every video I do, just about, unless it's a Facebook Live, gets transcribed. Every interview, every podcast I do gets transcribed because Google likes Word. People ask me all the time. People ask Janet over at Transcribe Anywhere, With her, she has a legal and a general transcription course. They ask, is there a demand for transcription? And the answer is yes, because I use it all the time. And I can only imagine if I have so much need for it that everybody else with bigger businesses, much bigger businesses than me, has need for it as well. The proliferation of video is just crazy with how much video is there. And Google doesn't index video. You have to have words with it. And the best way to have words is just have it transcribed. And it's so helpful. And for people who have hearing issues or just don't like listening or don't like watching videos, and I am one of those people, it's funny because I do podcasts, I do Facebook Lives, I do summits, I've done all this stuff because people ask me for it, but I know that I don't listen to podcasts. I don't necessarily attend summits. I don't watch Facebook Live videos. I don't watch videos on my Facebook feed. I don't watch videos.
Mm-hmm.
I read stuff. I'm a words person. And so there is a huge demand for that just because there's, all this media out there saying that video is the way to go. Text is and still will remain king because that is what is indexed by Google. So let's talk about what your life looked like way back before you started working at home. You're a veteran at this, so I know it's probably hard to remember, but it probably wasn't as well. I'll let you tell us about it. What was it like before you started working at home for you?
Right. Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was busy. My older two were really young, so there was a lot of just keeping them alive, feeding them, nap times, all those kinds of things that attend life as a mom with two very young children. So it was busy. And it's still busy now. It's just a different kind of busy.
I love it. And you're still, you told us in your application that you earn between $500 and $700 a month. And that's a great amount for somebody who's homeschooling and has four kids that you're homeschooling. It's crazy. And
yeah, it's been a blessing.
Yeah. And are you happy with where you are? If you plan on growing your business, maybe as kids move out and go to school? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I really like what I do. But I think I really would like to expand my skill set some. And definitely like what you were saying, as the kids get older and stuff, I can work more. And I found that with, my youngest is 4. I can obviously devote some more time to transcription now than when she was an infant. Those were hard days. But in the future, a not too distant future, I would like to expand and do maybe even virtual assistant, looking into that. I actually purchased the committed level curriculum from the Work at Home school. And so,
cool.
Yeah, there's obviously, wow, so much stuff in there. I just want to do it all now, but that's not very smart. So I started out with the time management course because I think I can always be improving in that area. It's hard to balance everything. Life is just a balancing act, really. And then I also, because I think you should continue to improve your skills in whatever area you're in. Currently, I decided to start also doing Janet's Transcribe Anywhere modules because I figured, even though I've been doing this for 8 years, I can learn from her. I know that she's been doing this longer than I have. And so that's where I started with that. But yeah, I'd like to kind of do other things, still virtual, like in the online space. But one day I would really, really like to have my own bakery. And I don't know if I would really want a brick and mortar business. Maybe I could do it out of my kitchen, that kind of thing. But I've been told I'm good at it and I really enjoy it. So that'd be something cool.
Yeah, the best place to be is to do things that you can generate income with, but that you also enjoy. And it sounds like transcription is a great thing. And really, at least as a transcriptionist, you are a virtual assistant. And so
that's true.
Those skills can translate to so many different things. And Work at Home School, Transcribe Anywhere, those are all great choices to expand your skills. And yeah, learning from Janet at Transcribe Anywhere, she knows how to market. She's got a killer marketing module. So I can't wait for you to get in there and get out there because that's what she's going to teach you to do. And so, yeah, I have no doubt you're going to be able to expand your income when you're ready to. You're going to be able to do that. Let's talk about continuing on with the theme of when you started, confidence. It's such a big theme in the Work at Home Heroes community. Because people are like, I want to be confident before I start. And it's like, that's not the way it works. You have to have action before you have traction. And the more action you take and the more you learn, the more confident you're going to get. But if you're expecting to be confident about what you're doing on day one, it's not going to happen. And that keeps so many people in place, that keeps so many people from moving. It's not even funny. So let's talk about day one for you. When you first started medical transcription, what was it like for you?
Oh, yeah, that was a very stressful day. I had taken the course and it was a very thorough course. I knew how to do it, but there's still that new feeling. There's the learning curve of just learning what the clients specifically want and all that kind of thing. So I was very nervous that first day, and it took me a little bit to kind of, I guess, grease the wheels to get my feet wet there to where I could build up speed. And then as I got to doing it, it got to be where it was getting to be pretty easy. I think it's just interesting the more confident you are, that shows to your clients too. You can just make yourself invaluable to your clients, and then there's always going to be work.
Yep. As long as there's people with problems in the world is what we say, there's always going to be opportunities for people to make money. And until that problems go away, which they never will, then there's always going to be opportunity out there for the people who want it and the people who are willing to go out and learn new skills. People that are willing to flip the switch in their mind and say, hey, yes, I have this problem. I need to earn money, but how am I going to earn money? By solving other people's problems. So start thinking about other people. So if you're listening to this right now, me and Lisa talking about this, Lisa and I talking about this, and you're wondering how to solve your own problems in terms of earning more money, and you want to work at home, start thinking about other people who has problems that you can solve and what skills you need to learn to be able to solve those problems, or what skills you have now that could solve people's problems right now. Start thinking about other people, start talking to people, and it's all about solving problems. That's what making money is. Your life now is full and it's busy. You've got 2 kids that are in high school and you got 2 younger children that are starting school, and you're homeschooling them, so you're going to be grading a ton of papers.
Yeah. Yes. For the next several years.
But you get to stay home and you get to supplement your husband's income. Let's talk about your family. We talked about you for a little while here. Let's talk about the people that surround you. Did you, when you started working at home, back in the dark ages of working at home, when people thought it was just MLM, and a lot of people still think that, were there people in your sphere of influence that were like, Lisa, what are you doing? Are you getting a scam? Like, were they negative towards you? Were they jealous, envious, whatever?
Right. I don't remember having a lot of negative feedback. I think there was just mainly the concern because this was such a new and different thing. There was just concern that it was a scam, that I wasn't going to, for instance, make my money back that I spent on the medical transcription course. So there was just that kind of concern. I don't remember people being really, there might have been some skepticism, but they didn't relate that to me. It was just concern mainly. Thankfully, I know that not everybody can say that, but in my case, that's how it ended up being.
Yeah, and your husband was supportive the whole way as well, yes, right?
Absolutely, yeah. He really has been supportive the whole time. Just with anything that I have talked to him about, even back during those earlier years when my children were young, when we were even thinking about doing medical, money was really tight. So dishing out some money for a course was kind of a big decision. But yeah, he's always been very supportive and encouraging and helpful. So I'm very, very thankful for that.
Made the money back on your transcription course, I take it?
Yes, absolutely. Thankfully, yeah. It didn't take too long, really. I mean, it really didn't. Something to keep in mind.
I mean, even in our Work at Home Heroes community, it's daunting. You know, we just had our first launch of Work at Home School, and we pretty much gave away the farm for less than $500 for our committed package. And that was still like, there was still so much fear around, oh my gosh, am I going to make this money back? Am I going to make this money back? Yes, you will. If you do the work, if you solve problems, making $500 in a year's time, you're going to be like, it's easy to make $500. No problem.
Exactly.
You know?
Right.
But
yeah.
Getting over that initial hump, and it's all money mindset related. When you have it in your mind that $497, $500, whatever, even $100, if you have it in your mind that is a ton of money and there's no way you're ever going to be able to earn that, then your mind is going to endeavor to make that true for you. But if you switch your mindset and you start saying, you know what, $497, I can solve enough problems to make that much money. Like if you flip that switch and you start thinking about, hey, yeah, let me go find some people that need some help and they'll pay me to help them. But it was all resting on you. And you have this mindset that, you know, money is a scarce resource and you've always struggled with money. Why is it going to change now? Then your mind just naturally looks for ways things are not going to work. So you've got to recognize that. And if you're listening to this right now, you've got to recognize that you have this mindset, these negative thoughts, this self-doubt in your mind that are saying you can't do this, it's too hard, it's a scam, it's this, that, and the other. Right. There's nothing scammy about skills, number one.
That's
There's nothing scammy about skills.
Well, and you know, the more confidence you have, then the easier it is to put yourself out there. Like, I know that I have these skills and I know that you have this problem. How can I help you? And I really appreciate that about the whole theme of the Work at Home Summit and school was that I guess, you know, before that, I really never thought of it in that way of you solving other people's problems. But that is just really true. I really appreciate that. It's something that's really made me think, just about how to put myself out there.
When people hear business, a lot of times they think, oh, it's Wall Street, or oh, it's McDonald's, or it's this franchise, or it's an MLM, or whatever. But really, business is transactional, and it's people exchanging value for money. And what's value if not skills and problem solving, right? And so you've been doing that
exactly
for the last 11 years, Lisa, and you're doing a great job.
Exactly.
So, shifting gears a little bit, because I know that people are curious about what your life looks like, balancing everything. You said it was all about balance, and it totally is. So I'm curious, what does your typical morning look like when you wake up in the morning? You got 4 kids, they're homeschooling, you're working at home. What does it look like for you?
Right. I said earlier, we don't have to be anywhere, which is nice. So there's not the rush of, getting kids out the door for school. So, our mornings are pretty laid back, and I really like that. We get up, everybody eats breakfast. Sometimes I'll work out in the morning. One of my favorite things to do is just walking around our neighborhood just for some mama time, some time to myself and some exercise. And our neighborhood's pretty quiet and safe. And so I really enjoy that time. Then the older kids get started on their stuff. And then I might run some errands, just doing chores and that kind of thing. So those are our mornings. And then I start with school with my younger two, specifically my son. He's in first grade. I do that after lunchtime. And then I'm teaching my 4-year-old now. I'm just starting with her, teaching her how to read. We haven't really delved into a lot of preschool kind of things yet. But yeah, I figured I'd start her with that because she's chomping at the bit, which is pretty neat. And then afternoons usually are reserved that's when I usually start my work day. Mid-afternoon, evening, and then sometimes when the kids are in bed and it's completely quiet, no distractions.
Nice. I like that. And before the show, we have everyone fill out an application. And one of the questions that we ask is how you keep yourself on track during workday. And you use a phrase that I have used myself. And so I'm excited to get to talk about it with you. You do a brain dump. So let's talk about what that is for you. And we'll have some fun talking about how we use that as a strategy. I use the same strategy. So.
Okay, great. Yeah. I've tried different planners over the years, but really what works best for me is just a cheap spiral notebook. And I just write down everything I know I need to do. I just get it all on paper. And so sometimes the list is really long. Sometimes it's not as long, but that's just to clear my mind so I don't have something nagging or, oh, crud, I forgot to do that type of thing later on. So I just get it all down so I know what I have to do. And then, I love to cross things off my list. So that's a really big feeling of satisfaction crossing those things off as I go. And then I can just look at it and see, oh, I've had a productive day. Or even if your list is long, and I've had things like this before where my list is really long and I get like 4 things done. Well, I still did a lot during the day. I just didn't get those particular things done. So you can still have a really productive day and not get everything done, just add it to the next day. So that's how I do my brain dump.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for a long time now.
Yeah, I love doing that. I do use a planner just so I can put like appointments and stuff in there. But then when it comes down to my to-do list, I just grab the nearest piece of paper. It could be the back of an envelope, and I start writing down things because and do this at night a lot too, because how many times have we, as women especially, we lay there, we're like going through the reel of things that we need to get done, the never-ending list, and we're just like reciting it. But if I get up and I write all that stuff down, it's out of my head, and I don't have to. There's a reason that it keeps running through my head is because I don't want to forget it. And it's like this subconscious thing that's built in, like, don't forget to do this, you got to do that, and planning out my day. Sometimes I just still can't sleep when I get done brain dumping right in the middle of the night. And so I'm like, you know what? If I can't sleep, why not use this time to go and do some of the stuff on the list, right? How much can I get done in the next hour? And by the time that hour is passed, I've done a lot of work, and then I can sleep in the next morning guilt-free if I can. Maybe I have to get up and do something or be somewhere or whatnot, but brain dumping is the best thing ever. And then I like to put little boxes so I can check things down and cross things out. It's really, really motivating. You don't forget anything. And I'm quite motivated as well, crossing those items off the list. And like you said, some days you get it all done, others you don't, and then you still have it on paper. And so you can just go through and transfer things over. And sometimes that's a good exercise as well. Go to the next page and write down the things you didn't get done on your new list and
put
a new box there. And you don't look at it as a failure that way at all. And I have this thing where I say, this is this is a clean podcast, but I don't think anyone's going to get offended. I have my bare ass minimum, right? The thing I have to get done today, that will make it a win. And so if I get this one thing done that's going to keep some balls rolling, get some results going in my business or whatever, move projects forward, then today can be a win, and that's how I can keep myself from not getting too burnt out or becoming a workaholic or feeling like I need to down half a bottle of wine when I get done with my work or whatever. And I love that you take a walk in the morning, because that's a great way to clear your head as well. And there have been times in the past, I'm an open book. And so I have no qualms against saying this, where like when I was living in South America, first building my business, and I would work 14, 16-hour days, and I would drink like half a bottle of wine a day because I felt like I needed it. But to replace that habit, I had started going on walks, and I found that it has the exact same decompressive, stress relieving benefits. Plus I get to burn some calories, and really just walking away from the computer for a few minutes helps as well. And you could lay down, close your eyes, breathe, many different ways to relieve stress other than drinking wine. Not that I never drink wine, but
right. There are other ways to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about strategy and figuring out what works and what you need. Of course, I'm not going to walk out in the rain, but I do love my fitness trampoline. So sometimes I just jump on that.
Oh, nice.
And watch a show on Netflix, escape a little bit, because we do need to create that work-life balance. That's actually my next question, is about work-life balance. How many hours are you working during a week on your transcription business?
Right. I usually work 10 to 15 on average. Some weeks are busier. Like this week has been pretty light. I haven't had a whole lot going on, but usually it's about 10 to 15 hours. And even in those slower periods, it all seems to kind of even out at the end. So, probably when the kids are a little older, I'll be able to work more. But at this point, that's about perfect for me right now.
Like you said, your life is a balancing act, and you're doing what you can now, and you're happy with where you are right now. And I think that's really important, as some people are like always thinking, I think there's a difference between you can be happy but not satisfied. And it sounds like that's where you're at. You're like, I know there's more and I want that, but I'm happy with where I am right now. And I'm going to not wish my life away, right? You've got your kids at home, all of them right now. And so you're really enjoying that. I think that's super, super important, because a lot of times we can get ourselves caught up with, where are we going next? Where are we going next? How much money can I make? How can I get the most clients? And that's like a big way to just crash and burn, because you take on too much and then some clients get disappointed, and maybe you're not as up to speed with your skills as you thought you were. And so maybe you bite off more you can chew. And it's the fastest way, is what I say to my proofreaders, especially over at Proofread Anywhere. I say, if you go out on day one and get 50 clients and you don't really know what you're doing, because you skip the practice or you're trying to take shortcuts or whatever, you're going to ruin your reputation faster than anything. So
that sounds like a nightmare. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. So final question for you, Lisa. I just want to make sure I ask this. I ask it of all of our guests, and because it's really the number one thing that we get in my inbox, in Working Home Heroes Facebook group, people are always talking about fear, that 4-letter word, fear. So there's people listening to this right now, and they're like, oh, well, they're making their mindset, right? It's going right now. And they're saying, Lisa, you've been working at home for 11 years. You got in when the getting was good. You got lucky, this, that, and the other, that we're some special superhumans, you and I. So there's people that are just shaking in their boots. Or maybe there's some people on the opposite end of the spectrum who are like, okay, I really want to do this, but I'm so scared. Why is this fear so crippling? And so I wanted to ask you for advice for those people. You're a life coach for the next, 2 minutes. What advice would you give to the people who are scared to get started, Lisa?
Right. Yeah, I think, you need to do research on whatever field, whatever niche you want to specialize in. But, at some point, you've got to put that research to the side and just close your eyes and jump. I mean, that's really kind of the best analogy I can think to liken it to. That fear factor is huge. I remember back when I was blogging a little bit more regularly, I wanted to share it on Facebook, but I was so scared. I thought, what if they're not going to like it? What if they think I sound stupid? But I thought, I need to do it. I just want to do it. So I just thought, I'm just going to do it. I posted it, and I got a lot of great feedback, So what if you have all these voices in your head, the self-doubt, the fear, but what if it turns out to be amazing? And then you won't ever know unless you try. So, and then I read a quote, this was a few months ago now, but it just really stuck with me. It says, don't miss out on something that could be great just because it could also be difficult. And I thought, wow, that's something I need to just remember, not just with work, but with any area of life, really. I mean, homeschooling, that's really difficult, but it's definitely great. Really, I mean, sometimes I have tough days. Sometimes I'm trying to do all the things, but really, I mean, there are so many blessings that come from working from home, supplementing my husband's income. We've never had to pay for daycare since the kids have been born. I've never had to do the 9 to 5 dealing with traffic. And not that the area we live in has a whole lot of traffic, but still, I don't have to deal with any of that. So really just do it. You're just going to have to go for it. Invest in yourself. And that's when I bought the committed level package. I thought, I was talking with David about it, and I thought, we could look at it really as an investment in me to strengthen and further some of my skills. Look at it kind of as an investment.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an investment. And I think that there's something to be said about people who think, oh, I'm spending the money. No, you're not. Spending money is like you're spending money on clothes, shoes that you don't really get anything in return. And eventually those shoes and clothes are going to wear out, and you're going to have to spend more money to buy more. But when you invest in your skills, You invest in yourself, and people can take away your job. They can take away your hair, so many things in life that can be taken away from us, but you cannot have your skills taken away from you. And that's what's great about working at home, because you don't work for an employer who can make up a reason to terminate you, at a moment's notice. And there's this misconception that a real job, corporate job, sitting at a desk, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, whatever, that is job security. And it's not. Skills are the new job security. And I have that quote that you said right in front of me. It says, I'm going to read it again for the audience. Don't miss out on something that could be great just because it could also be difficult. And that reminded me of the quote, it's Earl Nightingale. Never give up on a dream just because of the time it will take to accomplish it. The time will pass anyway. And that is so, so true. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that's just great advice from you, Lisa. Get started. What if it turns out great? And you're never going to know unless you try. And the reality is there's somebody at home right now who's thinking, you want to step out and you've been trying and trying and trying, nothing's working. You've got to try something different. You've got to do something different to get results that you've never gotten before. And so
exactly.
Otherwise, we're just beating our heads against the walls.
Yep. And then you'll still be in the same spot you were before. I mean, you haven't done anything about it. So just do it.
Exactly.
And the work is there too. I mean, if you think about podcasting, I mean, that's really taken off. And like you said before, people want to read. My husband loves audiobooks and that kind of thing and listening to podcasts. But I like to just get down to it and just read it. And I know that, like you said, you're that way too. And a lot of people are that way. The work is out there for transcription. It just is. So go for it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show, Lisa. Where can people reach you if they have questions?
They can find me at the Work at Home Heroes Facebook group.
Cool. So they can just tag you, ask you questions. And there's probably a thread in there right now. You can go and talk to Lisa, talk to her about the episode, ask her any questions. And if you're interested in transcription, check out transcribeanywhere.com. Thank you again so much for being on Work at Home Heroes, Lisa.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the Work at Home Heroes podcast with Caitlin Pyle. Be sure to listen to previous episodes at caitlinpyle.co/podcast. While you're there, read the show notes and check out all the great links and resources mentioned in this episode and more. You can also subscribe to the Work at Home Heroes podcast so you'll automatically be notified when our next episode is available. Remember, as Caitlin says, mo skills means mo money.